all around us. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Georgetown. We are so happy that you're here today, and welcome to everybody who's online. And actually, we have a decent crowd today because we have a lot of travelers out on the road who are vacationing and things that I know of for sure. So I know some of them are online, so hello to them. And let me read you what I'm supposed to read you. You know, we come together on Sunday mornings to recharge our spiritual batteries because the world wants to drain us of it. It can be draining. So it's a constant, I don't want to use the word battle, but I already did right now. I didn't use it. You didn't hear it. But it's a constant adjustment, you know, to keep ourselves in the right frame of mind, in that right energy field, because everything is energy. And so we're in this field of energy, and like any energy, it could be like the hurricane or something, there's little balls of negative energy floating around everywhere, and sometimes we get exposed to them, and it's like that static, you know, and so we got to come here and just kind of do one of these things and just shake everything off. So we do that on Sunday mornings, and we do that by singing together, and we pray together, and we affirm together, and we even learn together. Yes, we actually learn. This is that's one of the things that really attracted me initially to Unity as a philosophy major, is the idea that Unity started, and I'm going to talk about that. Unity started as a healing ministry, but once it got organized, it became a school. And I always liked the idea that Unity, it was called a Unity School of Practical Christianity, but it was a school because they weren't trying to set up a religion. They weren't trying to do that. They were trying to learn. And today we're going to talk more about that early movement in this book. This is the classic Unity book, and I've been here for 2.5 years, and I've never talked about it, ever. So today I'm going to start a little mini-series on this book called Lessons in Truth. So we have learned over the last month or so, we are a blending of an emergent consciousness from various places in the late 1800s that came together. It was the newfound science, the Newtonian physics, and the Eastern influence that Fillmore's had, because they read everything. And then there was a transcendentalist that were really going strong about this time period. And they had a different view of the world, a different view of God, one in which God was in everyone and everything. And they were very much nature-oriented. And so you get these books by Thoreau and Emerson about, you know, the woods and Walden's Pond and all these. This is the transcendentalist. So we had that influence. And then we had the resurgence of this power of the mind idea. And they took all these things and they started putting them together. And I want to talk about that during the talk today. And they started looking at, because they were all Christian background, and they started looking at the Christian background and trying to tie it with this new way of seeing things. And up and behold, the Unity movement and the New Thought movement, which is, if you're not familiar, New Thought is a general movement of which Unity is one part of. There's Christian Science and Divine Science and a bunch of different ones. But anyway, so we also don't have any dogma, but we do have 5 principles that guide our philosophy. And as soon as I finish with this series, I'm going to go into the 5 principles. And I was going to do that before I realized that, no, I need to talk about this first. So we are an interspiritual community. I like that word, interspiritual, because we honor and draw from all paths to spirit because of this oneness thing. And that's our fundamental teaching, oneness. And our fundamental practice is being in the present moment. And that's always a challenge. So we come together on Sunday mornings to remind ourselves of all these things, because that's what we need to do. Seek ye first the kingdom. Try to figure out what's going on. How's that song go? What's going on? Well, anyway, so join me now in our mission statement. We are a thriving spiritual community, inspiring and empowering individual and global transformation as exemplified by the life and the teachings of Jesus. Welcome once again to Unity Spiritual Center, Georgetown, a spiritual breath of fresh air. Our announcements.
Good morning. If you're here for the first time, we'd like to give you a special welcome. So if you would please raise your hand or stand so we can say hi. Where are you, Joan? There she is. Hello, Joan. Joan, this is folks from Joan from California, right? Welcome, Joan. Anyone else? I guess not. Well, thanks for being here, Joan. Hope you feel welcome, and if you move here to Sun City, that you make Unity your spiritual home. Okay, well, it's birthday Sunday. On the first Sunday of the month, we like to acknowledge and recognize those that have birthdays during the month. So there will be cake and beverages behind me in the bar area after the service to help celebrate.
Raise of hands.
So if do you have a birthday in July? Would you raise your hand, stand, and oh my gosh. A lot of July guys, huh?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Dan. Some sad news, I'm afraid. A frequent member of our services, Dallas Anderson, has passed away on June the 25th. He was 83. If anyone here has family information and would like to share that for any celebration, please let us know so that we can make the information available to those that are interested. We celebrate that he was a part of our Unity Georgetown family.
Right there all the time.
Yeah. Well, Let's Get Metaphysical is back here in Sun City this week. On Wednesday, July the 10th at 9:30, weather permitting, across the street at Legacy Hills Park. If it's raining, I guess you'll be at Ann Kennedy's home.
Possibly, or because Anne's been under the weather, maybe just be under the pavilion. But either way, note that we moved it back up to 9:30 because it's starting to get a little warmer. So. Yeah. And if you're not on the list and you want the videos, please send me an email. I have a card outside. That way I can send you the videos for this coming week, for Wednesday.
Okay, and remember to add Let's Get Metaphysical Downtown Georgetown to your calendar for Tuesday, July the 16th from 7 to 9. And bring a friend. It's going to be an evening of uplifting music, musing about many topics related to the human experience and spiritual natures, and a time of meditation to connect in the oneness.
It's been going really well. We've only done it twice now, but the first time we had about 32 people. Last week we had like 23 or so, but less Unity people, but more outside people, which is a good thing because that's what we're trying to reach the greater community. You know, for them to come in and just. I don't try to sell Unity or anything like that. But you know, things come up. So during the conversations, you know. Yeah, we do meet together on Sundays, you know. But no, I don't say that.
Okay, the book club for July is on Tuesday the 16th at 10 a.m. It's going to be in meeting room number 4 in the activity center, which is across from the farmers market. That's every Tuesday morning. So anyone who cares to do lunch at the city market after that is welcome. And a love donation will be accepted to cover the room rental. Thank you for those that responded to the Fund and Fellowship poll. All of those suggestions will be reviewed by the committee, and plans will be forthcoming. Starting this month, the Bucket of Hope donations will be shared with BIG. That stands for Brookwood in Georgetown, and that'll be through September. If you aren't familiar with them, they're a vocational community for special needs adults. A great service there. Check the newsletter link or their website for further information. And a huge thank you to all the volunteers who are a big part of our Sunday service. A reminder to all the volunteers, please remember to reply to your Breeze reminders. Simply RSVP to that email. That's all you have to do. It can be very difficult to find someone to step in last minute. And in addition, if you get a text or an email asking you to fill in, a reply is greatly appreciated. If you're not getting notifications or you want a preferred contact method, let Carrie know or email us on the link in the website or the newsletter. Thanks again. And please visit our welcome table out in the foyer. Check out the weekly e-newsletter that's sent out every Friday. And be sure to check the calendar link, or you can go to the website. And don't forget to follow and like us on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you, Dean. As you know, we like to start with a little bit of humor to kind of just do the static thing, get all the static off of us, And so today we have our resident guest comedian, Mr. Dan. All right, Dan.
Okay, so this is a true story. This actually happened. I don't know if any of you ever met my mother. She came once or twice to visit these services, but she passed away about 10 years ago. But she had a sense of humor. I guess you can imagine that. And she liked to come up when I was younger and playing in a lot of rock bands, and she would bring a group from her office up for the weekend. So she kind of kept up with the music scene. And but in her later years, she was attending a Sunday school class in the Bryan College Station area. And one day, her Sunday school teacher gave them an assignment to read from the book of Jeremiah. And they would have a discussion the following Sunday. And next Sunday, my mom shows up for Sunday school and realizes she forgot to read the assignment. And the teacher's going around the room calling on each person to give their thoughts on the book of Jeremiah. And she got to my mother, and Mom said, well, I didn't read. I didn't do the reading assignment. I'm sorry, but I can tell you this. Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Please rise and begin by service.
And now, as we begin our service with the ringing of the crystal bowl, let us bring our hearts and our minds into oneness as we raise our vibration and enjoy the joy and the light and the message to be heard this morning.
Today's daily word is beautiful. The affirmation is, my open heart discovers beauty all around me. And the inspiration for today's daily word comes from 2 Corinthians 3:18. And all of us, with unveiled faces, seeing the glory of the Lord as though reflected in a mirror, are being transformed into the same image. I see beauty in soaring mountains and rolling seas, majestic forests, and fields of wildflowers. I hear beauty in music and birdsong, and the laughter and conversation of people in fellowship. Searching beyond my senses, I discover a greater depth of beauty. The mundane items and landmarks I may take for granted take on a deeper beauty when my memories fill them with meaning. My dear ones become even more beautiful to me when I pause to remember our fondest experiences and the love that binds us. I move through each day with my mind and heart open. Now, even the most ordinary items, places, and circumstances become more and more precious and beautiful to me. Please read the affirmation with me twice. My open heart discovers beauty all around me. My open heart discovers beauty all around me.
And now it's time to light the candles that represent the three aspects of the law of divine order: mind, idea, and expression. Divine mind is the source of everything that is, everything that can be, and everything that is possible. It is limitless in its abilities to create. When we align our minds with divine mind, we are given creative ideas. We see things differently. We express these ideas through our thoughts, words, and actions, thus becoming co-creators with God. Now please join me in the prayer of intention. Living Spirit opens our minds, opens our hearts, and touches deeply with love, and sends us out as agents of love, agents of peace, agents of justice. Amen. I don't see any children, except big ones maybe. So no church today, just music.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize that I'm not alone and there's nothing I have to do on my own. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone and there's nothing I have to do on my own. I am the place where God lives, moves and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Keep singing that same thing. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place.
I am the place where God
You are
lives,
the place.
moves and breathes and has
We
its
are the
being. I am the
place
place
where God shows up. I am the
I
place.
am the place where God
You are
lives,
the
moves
place.
and breathes and has
We
its
are the
being. I am the
place
place
where God shows up. One more time.
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God
Shows up.
Beautiful, beautiful. Please join me in affirming together our statement of being and vision. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. God, the good, omnipotence. Centered in God, we co-create a world of love, peace, and abundance. And now it's time for our community prayer. Today is Sunday, July 7th. This week we celebrated the United States of America's Independence Day. Oh, sorry, Dean. Please forgive me, that's much better.
It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us to be free. Open your eyes and see. We can all know everything without ever knowing how. It's in every one of us here and now. It's in every one of us to feel peace within your heart, love that will not cease. We can all know everything without ever knowing how. It's in every one of us here and now. It's in every one of us here and now.
Okay, now it's time for the community prayer. Today is Sunday, July 7th. This week we celebrated the United States of America's Independence Day. Many patriots died for the cause of liberty. Let's honor all who have served to protect our country and uphold our freedom. Peace, not war, is everyone's divine right. Let peace live in every heart. Let's close our eyes, take a deep breath, and connect to our divine guidance within. World peace begins with me. I give my attention to life-affirming thoughts and creative ideas and become an instrument of peace. My thoughts, words, and deeds are peaceful. My divine wisdom cultivates peace and harmonious relationships. I allow my creative power to radiate from me in my thoughts, my words, and my actions. Within this connection, I am peace. Let's continue to focus on our breathing. Sharing in the breath of divine life, we inhale and exhale as one. Every breath draws our awareness deeper into our inner sanctuary, where we draw from infinite power and infinite possibility. Breathing in, God is. Breathing out, I am. Breathing in, God is peace. Breathing out, I am peace. Every cell in my body and every space in my consciousness responds to the command of peace. Now let us pray for lasting peace and for anyone or any situation you are holding in your heart. Bring these intentions into our circle of love by either speaking their name or condition silently or aloud. And let us rest in quiet for a few moments. Let us close our time of prayer by singing an ancient prayer, a prayer handed down through the ages that affirms God's realm manifest in earth as it is in heaven, the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts
Now it's time for spiritual practice. Today I want to discuss imagination, an important aspect of the law of divine order. Imagination is an ability coming from God's mind. Imagination invites us to breathe, to dream, and to be fully present to the wonder of life. Creative imagination, which is the ability to conceive of something that does not already exist, is a source of art and invention. Imagination makes reading possible, as what the author imagines, whether a story or an argument, is replayed in the reader's mind. Imagination is an important power of the human mind, along with reason, emotions, and will. Have any of us forgotten how to imagine? Forgotten that the world is a magical and miraculous place? At a certain point, life can become too serious. We become bogged down with tasks and to-do lists. And this mindset impacts the most personal parts of our life, including spirituality. But what if spirituality isn't always about rumination or taking on a serious posture while contemplating the deeper questions? In Catholic school, I learned about childlike faith that encourages humility and wonder rather than piety or intellect. Faith also encourages asking questions without needing definitive answers. Your imaginative spirit will keep you open to possibilities and ground you in the present moment. Imagination invites us to breathe, to dream, and to be fully present to the wonder of it all. Everyone has imagination. The imagination is not simply the province of artists and children. It is the ability of the mind to think in pictures. We use our imaginations all the time when we are daydreaming, planning, remembering, or meditating. Memory employs the imagination so that we can recall events of the past. Imagination also allows us to contemplate our lives in the present and empowers us to visualize the future. The next time you leave your home, consider taking an unfamiliar walking route and try a walking meditation. Eat at a new restaurant on the other side of town or lounge in a park that's not your usual hangout. Pay attention to the streets, the landscapes, and the unfamiliar faces. The world is grand and beautiful if only we will look and see using the power of our imagination. Now take a deep breath, settle into your body, and become aware of the light that surrounds us. Let us become silent and go within our inner sanctuary. Now imagine that we are rising to the high mountain of spiritual awareness, where the view is vast and without obstruction. It is here that we step into the consciousness of divine clarity. I release all distractions and uncertainty and bring the virtue of clarity into this space. I know I am part of something larger than myself, as we are all one. Now, as we move into prayer, let us breathe in love and spend time in the beautiful quiet of light. And Dan will bring us back with his song.
smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. People gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful. You're beautiful. Yeah, you're beautiful as you feel.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Jill. The power of imagination, yeah, I'm going to ask you to use that in a little bit. So today's lesson is Lessons in Truth, Part 1, an introduction. The last month and a half or so, we've been on quite the journey. First, we set out to uncover the words of the Master through a series of talks. And last week, I shared with you how the unity movement came to be. Some of us took yet another journey, and we shared in a History Channel presentation, a 2-part DVD called Banned from the Bible, Part 1 and Part 2. It was a 3-hour presentation, and we learned a lot of things, but the biggest takeaway that I try to emphasize, and I think everybody got, was that the early Christian movement was extremely diverse. There were a multitude of books, all filled with many stories, all kinds of stories. Some of them about Jesus, some of them about Mary Magdalene, about the disciples, about Judas as the good guy, and even some people that most of us don't even hear much about, such as Lilith or Enoch or Tekla and others. Entire books in some cases that were written of these people. And that content ranged from material today that could be put in either an Ancient Aliens episode or a Harry Potter book. Just magical, fantastical stories. Stories that if you read today, you would definitely put them under either fiction or science fiction. And the strange part is to consider, well, how much of it was for them was fantasy, and how much of it really was reality? Maybe they did see these things that were called flying chariots. I don't know. I mean, a thought experiment, let's reverse it. Let's suppose somehow somebody was reading about something I was writing today, and in that story I was talking about talking to someone on the other side of the world and actually seeing them live in my magical box. They would have said, really? Magical box? Okay, sure, why not? The point is, the point I'm trying to make is the race consciousness of then and the race consciousness of now are two entirely different things. And it's important to capture that. And it seems obvious, yet most people just accept those hand-me-down beliefs without running them through our current consciousness and see how do they do with that. But the Unity New Thought movement began that process about 130 years ago. And at the end of last week's talk, I hinted at trying to move on into the fundamentals of unity, the 5 principles. And then, because I consider them the most fundamental unity teachings because they are so universal in nature. To me, they speak of life at the conceptual level, at the level of ideas. And I really like that. But then I thought about it. I said, no, that's jumping the gun a little bit. That's selling you short, skipping a bunch of decades in the process. So I thought, you know what, there's something else I need to kind of talk about since we're on this journey before I move into the 5 principles, and that is the Unity Classic book, as I said earlier, Lessons in Truth. Now, most people would say that is the one Unity book to read, but I like it, but I would differ. I would say Discover the Power Within is the one Unity, from my perspective. But anyway, so let's pick up our journey, because it's been an interesting journey, and we've had to use our power of imagination as we've gone through here. So last week we learned that Unity began as a healing ministry when Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore was diagnosed at the age of 30 or so with TB. And at the time, as I said, you got TB, it was over. It was just a death sentence because there was nothing that they could do about it at the time. But then she came across this lecture she went to, and this guy said, I am a child of God, therefore I do not inherit sickness. For Myrtle, those words were eye-opening, and they remind her of what the Master Jesus had told the centurion. He told him, go, let it be done just as you believe it would. And his servant was healed at that moment. She understood through the words of that lecturer that we have the power within us. We do. For he who is within is greater than he who is in the world. That statement means that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that spiritual side of us has rank, if I may use a military term, has rank over the physical body. That consciousness is what takes this stuff, quantum soup I like to call it, it's just quantum soup, and consciousness takes it and forms it together to make this earth suit so that I may be here among you and you among us. That the world is an external reflection of our internal world. It's a mirror. Sounds woo-woo, but that's exactly what the Master was saying. So I think you get the point that life works from the inside out, not from the outside in. And this was a very big part of this new way of seeing things, which was emerging in the late 1800s and the New Thought movement. And these are the words you're going to hear from Dr. H. Emily Cady. So let's get up to date. First, there was this movement, this new movement, this coming together of all the stuff we've been talking about. Second, there was Myrtle's experience with the movement. Third, there was her healing. And fourth, there was the beginning of the gatherings. So here we are in the late 1800s, and there is this new emergent consciousness. People are beginning to get together, and the ones that did, they shared two things. They had an awareness and an interest in this new way of seeing things, and they had an existing affinity for religion. All these people were religious people. Myrtle was a devout Methodist. And so what they started doing was, after their respective services, they would all come together at someone's house. Hey, we're going to meet over at Teresa's house after lunch, and we're going to have an LGM group. We're going to talk about, let's get metaphysical. Now, they didn't call it that, but that's what they were doing. It was an opportunity for them to come together, discuss, and question the old beliefs and try to put them in where they fit with what they were learning. How did this work? And the whole message was a message of empowerment. And that's a big deal. It's an empowering message. So it didn't take very long before somebody said, hey, why don't you start writing all this stuff down so that we can pass it on to the people who were unaware of these ways of seeing things. Now, I told you last time, Charles Fillmore was not too keen on the idea because he recognized that we are constantly unfolding, constantly evolving. So he had, I'll paraphrase him, something like, the man I am today is not the man I will be tomorrow. So for him, the idea of writing down the thoughts that I have today seemed kind of, I don't know, because tomorrow I'm going to see things differently. But as luck would have it, at about the same time, a small booklet came into the lap of Myrtle Fillmore. It was written by one H. Emily Cady. She was an homeopathic physician in New York in the 1800s. Can you imagine that? And a student of New Thought. The booklet was called Finding the Christ in Ourselves. Well, the Fillmores read it, and they were impressed. And they wrote to her and asked her if they could print the thing and distribute that little article, that little booklet. And they also asked her if she'd be willing to write other things, because they started to put together a magazine. So in January of 1892, Dr. Katie's first article appeared in Unity magazine. It was titled, "Neither Do I Condemn Thee." Now that's a talk when I saw that. I said, now that's a lesson for one Sunday. I have to work on that one. Neither do I condemn thee. Anyway, in the ensuing articles of the magazine, she continued to write. But as the story of Unity states, it reads this: there was at that time no simple set of lessons that presented the principles that they were teaching. So they had been asking Dr. Katie if she would be willing to undertake such a thing. Well, I'm very busy, first of all. But she finally agreed to it. And she sent the very first lesson, and it was called Statement of Being. And it's the second chapter in this book. This is the original book, as I said. So let's get started. Chapter 1 is titled Liberty or Bondage. That's the name of the chapter. And in that first paragraph, right from the beginning, she sets the tone for everything. Because it's now, we're talking about a journey into a new level of consciousness. That's my words, not hers. So, like a Zen master, she begins right off the bat. It says this: in entering this course of instruction, each of you should, so far as possible, lay aside for the time being all previous theories and beliefs. By doing so, you will be saved the trouble of trying throughout the course to put new wine in old wineskins. Now, this is two things here. This is a Zen notion of the beginner's mind. About in order to learn something new, you've got to put aside your old beliefs, you know. A lot of people have trouble with that. They got the answers. We know. I said, well, good for you. Good for you. And then was the other reference, to the scriptural reference, to putting new wine in old wineskins. You've heard that before. Now remember one thing. She is talking to people in 1894 about ideas that they have never heard before. Never. You've heard them. They had not. So, disclaimer. The book is written in old male-dominant separation language. So let's just get that out of the way. It's the 1800s. So here's what she says right off the bat. Every man believes himself to be in bondage to the flesh and to the things of the flesh. All suffering is the result of this belief, that we're tied to this body. Now, then she makes this connection to the Old Testament, which I looked at it now again. I said, well, this might be the first metaphysical interpretation of the Bible that she just wrote. She writes, the history of the children of Israel coming out of their long bondage in Egypt is descriptive of the human soul or consciousness growing up out of the animal or sense part of man and into the spiritual side. So we were captives mentally. Remember, everything is in the mind and reflected out to the outer world. So we were in this bondage mentally in believing that we are human beings first and foremost. And now, we're all beginning to have an awakening. And she makes a reference to the New Testament as well, when he says, every human being must come to himself. Having tired of eating husks, he will get up and go to my Father. Now, that's a reference from the prodigal son, when he hits rock bottom. So the whole idea is that we are these spiritual beings, and somehow we got lost in this awareness. But at some point, you come to understand and question things, and you realize there's more to this. And that's where most of us are, in that, okay, there's more. But what is this more thing? So Until we come to that point, she says, we are at the mercy of the environment because we are unaware that it is we who are creating our own circumstances. You shall know the truth. She continues, hitherto we have believed that we have helped and comforted, we are helped and comforted by others, that we receive joy from the outer circumstances and surroundings. But it is not so. All joy and strength and good spring up from a fountain within one's own being. And if we only knew this truth, we should know that because God is our fountain, which brings forth all good, nothing anyone does or says can ever take away your joy or your good. So here it is, exactly what I said brought me to unity. It's a new understanding that we've got this all backwards. We think we're humans first, and we have some expectation that perhaps someday we can be in this glorious place that we have called heaven or something like that. But the reality is that because we are all connected, then we are everywhere all the time, and the only difference is, where is your mind? Where is your level of understanding? Because heaven and hell are both right here, and neither one is a place. It's a state of consciousness. And that's what she's talking about. And so these new people are hearing this for the first time. You know what they're going like, huh? Because for them, they all had this vision that heaven was some place out there somewhere, and that God was something else apart from me out there somewhere. And that maybe, if I get lucky and I say and do the right things, I can work my way into this place. But we really are in that place. We're just not aware of it. And that's a radical different way of seeing this. Then she tells these people another thing that they're not used to. That in order to make contact with this place, they must turn within into meditation. These are Christian people, even today. Go talk to Christian people, a Catholic person, about meditating. They go like, that's witchery or something. I don't know what that is. And yet Jesus was telling them, turn within. The kingdom of heaven is within us. And she finally writes, we have to come to a place where our search for truth no longer be about rewards. It must no longer be about seeking a creed to follow. It must be about living a life. So that's what we've been talking about, of bringing it all to the here and to the now. Because the here and now is all we have, all we ever will have. So if you can't see it in the here and now, you're never going to see it. So that's why we say, practice seeing God in everything, no matter what. Be that childlike wonder that Jill mentioned. It's seek ye first the kingdom. And we talked about that, right? That was the Essenes' #1 creed. And we were talking about Jesus was most likely very influenced by the Essenes. And that was their number one creed. It was a message of freedom. That's why she said, bondage or freedom. And nobody can, I love that Eagles song. Sometimes we spend our lives in chains, not knowing that we have the keys. What a line, the Eagles. Because that's exactly what it is. We ourselves have the keys to our own freedom. We got to find it, that's all. But it's within. Dan, can I have a little? Let's take a few moments now just to contemplate today's message as we begin this new series of Lessons in Truth. It's a new message. It's a new message that they had not ever heard of. It was a message of great change during a time which much was changing. It was a releasing of the old in order to make room for the new. It was putting new wine in new wine sacks. It was an opening of the mind and the soul from a place that had been closed for a very long time. This new movement and the people who led the way have been truly a gift to humanity and the coming of a new way of seeing this mystery of life. It's an age of unity. It's an age of harmony. It's an age of peace, an age where we live the lives we choose with no and nothing holding us back. In this new world, there is complete freedom of choice and expression because we all respect the sanctity of life of all others. In this new world, we live and we let live. We are grateful for this new coming world order, and we await its full expression here in earth as it is in heaven. And we do so as we walk with each other.
Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. While I'm on this tedious journey, Lord. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. Hold my hand, Lord. Hold my hand. Hold my hand, Lord. Hold my hand. When I stumble, help me stand, Lord. Hold my hand, Lord. Hold my hand. Guide my way, Lord. Guide my way. Guide my way, Lord. Guide my way. Light my path so I won't stray, Lord. Hold my hand, guide my feet, I know you will. Walk with me, walk with me, walk with me. Walk with me, walk with me, walk with me.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Now comes a time in our service where we offer our gifts, our tithes to our community so that we can continue to move forward in seeking the kingdom and spreading the word of it, that it's all good. The underlying is all good. We just have to make it work. It's our duty. We are the hands, and we are the ones that do it. So we take our tithes in our hands, and together we say, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. I give in love, and I trust God.
Everything I see, everything I do is blessed by your hand, God. I give it back to you. Everything I give, every thought that's true.
Join me in our offering dedication. We bless and dedicate these tithes and offerings as an expression of divine love, and we release them to manifest that love in our community and in our world. We bless the children of the world. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ you are. Final reminders, Jill is our chaplain. Thank you for all the ones who participated in today's service. LGM is 9:30 now on Wednesday at the park across the street. And we have cake, if anybody would like to have some cake, birthday cake. So I believe that's it, and let's rise and finish with our peace song.
On earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let this be the moment now. Every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live with each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I am light. I am love. I am power. I am presence. I am. Have a blessed, blessed week.